What is up, rebel colonists and Mars citizens? I am just a simple Newtype, and we have finally made it. We have made it to the final volume of Mobile Suit Gundam Frozen Teardrop. I'm going to have some PTSD after all this is over. Last time, Prometheus and Scheherazade tried to stop Renlina, who is currently looking through the perfect sex files. He had gotten to Snow White and used the Grun loadout on the boys. And in the files, Dr. J made the two heroes fight and were given Gundams. This time, the Second Lunar War begins. Rebel prisoners are set to be executed, so Artemis and the rebels launch a full-out assault, and one of the heroes escape. So let's get into this. AC-190, Spring, Luxembourg. Trace keeps getting emails from someone calling themselves the Heart of Space. He ignored these emails for a while before eventually looking into them to see that it is just a math problem. It's encryption, so he tries to crack it. The only thing that he seems to be able to decipher is meow, 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 meow. Trace says, "Who are you, mysterious cat program?" This makes him go to his library to find a book written by Hiroyui in AC-171 titled Katsa Voto, or Cat's Words. It was signed by Hiroyui and was originally Sankant's copy of the book. To Trace, Hiro and Sankant were on opposite ends of the political spectrum, so he wonders what their relationship was. Of course, we know Sankant was secretly funding the rebels for a brief period. There's a section in the book regarding cat tones. He applies this to the algorithm to get a message that says, "Please connect me to 0. He then pulls out Pandora's box. It has been 3 years since Zex gave him the drive. He connects it to Oz's biggest quantum computer. The 0 system lets Trace see predictive outcomes. This is the moment that he decided to make moves for world unification. The Oz take over the Alliance, coercing the Gundam pilots to kill the Field Marshal, even Trace's own death. All calculated decisions because he chose to finally look into the 0 system. But it also shows that Zex is responsible for turning Trace into the man he eventually became. And I don't know if I like that. We say that Hiro is the perfect soldier to get on his level, but that also applies to Trace. He makes the right decisions. He doesn't need a mastermind behind the scenes, even if it is Zex. Trace instantly organized the Oz specials. However, Zex and Elif weren't in attendance. Noin, Izumi Tarnov, Broden Diaz, and Solrak Delbrook are Trace's new commanders. March 7th, AC-190. Last episode, Duo killed General Dotson. Now General Septim wants to start killing rebel colonists. Cordelia tries to calm him down. He wants to do a public execution on some rebels. The Alliance tells him this isn't allowed, but he ignores it. Septim shows Cordelia a grainy photo of Prometheus. This mobile suit is proof that the rebels are plotting something. Septim wants Cordelia to hunt this mobile suit down. Instead, Cordelia decides to call HR on Septim after collecting some evidence. Lady Un looks like she would call HR. Somewhere in between Mars and Jupiter, the Winter family is bringing the MO4 satellite to the Earth sphere. This, along with MO1, was lost during the war in AC-195. The Winters won the bid to take this. Ketra hates that his father is helping the Alliance with resources that will be used for war. He snuck on board his father's ship to try to sabotage things. Ketra is punished by working manual labor. Long Lao Yao is left behind last episode. He is one of the rebels that will be executed. Duo and the Long sisters want to get help from the rebel commander Artemis. She devises a mission which is a full frontal assault. Things will be alright if the barge doesn't show up. However, the Barton Foundation agrees to help as a distraction. This is due to a deal struck where they help with their mass-produced Aquila mobile suits. However, Dakeem Barton wants more in this deal. He wants Prometheus. Artemis agrees and tells Elif to depart with his machine. Don't take my boy away from his robot. Dr. S recruits No Name. The doomed Roberto squad was killed, and a girl betrayed him before his run-in with Dr. S. No Name helps fix up the Aquila. The WMS-01 Aquila is built with a different philosophy than the Leo. It sacrifices close combat agility for heavy concentrated firepower. It has a twin Gatling gun. This was made by Dr. S with Professor H helping with the cockpit. There's no image of this mobile suit, but it is a prototype of the Magwanac, so it is probably similar in design. Dr. S shows No Name Prometheus. The pilot seems to hate it and calls it a powder keg. This is Troa Barton, Dakeem Barton's son. No Name thinks to himself, "I'm gonna steal this man's life one day." Master O tells Wu Fei about the Talgi Xilong. The Master believes that nukes destroyed man's ability to fight with honor. He believes the mobile suit brings balance back to the warrior and gives them a sense of pride for what they are fighting for. He tells Wu Fei to avoid fighting with hatred. Remember that one time in the anime where he yelled at a pack of wolves? I don't think he listened to Master O's advice. Beta and Alpha fight in their new Gundams. Beta is mad that he is inferior to Alpha. He has the better Gundam and is getting frustrated. Alpha says that the Proto-Zero allows him to see the future. Beta realizes that Alpha is holding back. They are informed of a large-scale war on the horizon. They need to be prepared. It's time for some live ammo training. This is their opportunity to escape. Proto-Zero has bird mode installed, and Wing doesn't. Beta suggests to Alpha that he fly away and leave him behind. So Alpha takes off and leaves Beta. AC-190, March 10th. Alpha decides to destroy the Gundanium refinery in the hopes that no one builds another Gundam. The Second Lunar War began on the same day. The full-scale operation to save the rebels is the start of the war. The assault of the rebels on the Alliance begin. They call this Operation Sagitta. The rebels attack the Sagittarius-class fortress around the Sea of Tranquility. Prometheus descends down and joins the battle. It is piloted by Chud the Barton. Each Sagittarius can carry 50 Leos, but they are funneled out into one hangar, and the Leos go down with ease. They don't destroy the land fortresses, but they retreat, successfully slowing down the ships without killing a soldier. The Alliance still doesn't take the rebels seriously even after seeing the damage. Only General Septim knows this is about to tip over to full-scale war. Cordelia is still researching behind the scenes and notices that Septim is working with the Barton Foundation. AC-190, March 13th. Duel and Meilon share a moment after he mistakes her for Hudi. We learn that the two sisters are actually twins. Duo is saddened that they have been caught up in this war. They learn that Long's execution is moved up 2 days. They're cutting it close. Trace meets up with Septim to stop him from executing the rebels, but Septim is able to get authorization anyways. Cordelia says, "Your Excellency," to Trace. He tells her not to call him that, but she says, No, Your Excellency." Ugh, she's always just been like this, I guess. She gives Trace data on the rebels that she didn't give to Septim. Trace knows that she was the operator from the colony drop 3 years ago. She says, "I'm so yours," but she says it in the most professional way. Trace tells her to give him the name of every man who dies from this war. Remember at the end of the series when he goes on a rant about bearing the burden of every dead soldier? Well, it started all right here.
How could I forget them?
Oz Special Solrak scouts the Sea of Nectar where he finds an entire squad dead. It was destroyed by Beta and Wing Gundam. Solrak tells his team to retreat. While fighting, Beta thinks, "Do I have mommy issues?" AC-190, March 14th. Churl Barton is in command and is scared after watching a demonstration of the barge cannons. Kance thinks he is weak. Churl talks to No Name and says if he stands a chance. It is reckless, but it isn't completely a suicide mission. No Name suggests he pilot Prometheus if he thinks it is suicide. Zex, Artemis, and Eliv begin their drop mission down to the Sea of Tranquility to rescue the rebel prisoners. Zex is ready, even if it means he has to fight Trace. Duo and the Long Twins are hiding the El Koenig in a transport. Oz Specials, Broden, and Solrak are in the area, and Duo and the gang avoid their radars. While they are sneaking around, Cheng Wufei and the Tallgeese Ji-Long attacks the Specials. He takes down Solrak and his team. The Oz Special is humiliated. Broden's men move in afterwards. Half of Broden's Ares squad is taken out. They all eject instantly. Wufei costs blood from all the G's. He has to let Broden and his men go. Zex and Eliv are in Swart's Grief units. Artemis is in Scheherazade with 50 Nemia fighters causing a distraction. Septim leaves the barge, which means they are going to fire the barge cannon. The Specials need to stop this. Trace sends Noin and Izumi to handle it. He is personally going to handle Artemis, Zex, and Eliv. No Name is now piloting Prometheus. People note that Chud the Barton is finally competent. No Name moves in and aims the cross rifle and fires at the barge cannon. He notes he hates crosses. We get a flash forward for a brief moment where No Name is now Dr. T. He notes that he regrets getting rid of the cross rifle. This apparently is different from the crucifix cannon, and the El Koenig is the Long Twins. They smash into the prison while Duo moves in on foot. Papa Long says he wants to be executed, but Duo won't allow it. The sisters notice nothing unusual in the skies as they get the rebels free. Meanwhile, Artemis is informed that the prisoners are free. They can retreat, but they are in the thick of it. That is when Trace and Cordelia join the battle. Zex and Eliv stay behind while Artemis and the others retreat. Duo in a buggy is spotted by Broden's retreating Ares. The El Koenig tries to draw them away. Broden wants to retreat as he doesn't want to lose more men. But Broden's men don't listen to him and attack anyways. They get a direct hit on El Koenig as they get away. Meilon realizes the attack killed Hudi. She cries for her sister. Zex and Eliv go up against 200 Alliance mobile suits. A pure white grief comes into the front lines. It is Trace, and he challenges Zex to a duel. This will buy time for the rebels to withdraw. No one interferes. Oh, it's a black and white grief off. The duel becomes a violent dance. Di's body is dead, but her foot is still on the accelerator. Duel catches up with her after hearing Mei Lan's screams on the radio. He caught up to a state-of-the-art machine with a transport vessel? Don't think about that too hard. After saving her, Mei Lan says, "Don't call me that anymore. Call me Nataku. I will never sing again!" Even with your sister just dying? This is too much emotion. Whoever that brave internet sojourner that once said that you have to treat Wing like a stage play, they were right. Trace can see Zex tensing up. He finds an opening and Trace disarms Zex. But he does not kill him. He tells Zex to come back to Oz's specials and help Trace defeat the Alliance from within. He also says that Nguyen is waiting for him. Zex will accept his offer along with Elev. Trace says to Cordelia, "From this day forward, you will be called Lady Un." They bury Hu Di. Master O and Wu Fei arrive with the Tallgeese Zhilong. Wu Fei looks at the destroyed El Koenig and judges. Oh, he's judging. Duo thinks it should be called Warlock. God, I wish I knew this earlier. I would have just called it Warlock this whole time. Catra is doing hard labor for sneaking aboard his father's ship. He then runs into Alpha, the Hiroyui clone, now going by Black Alpha. He says, "Hey man, you want that mobile suit? It's yours." And the kid gets into a shuttle and takes off, never to be seen again. Zaid wants to dismantle the Proto-Zeta that Alpha left behind. Oz, with the help of Lady Un's research, sets up an attack. Their fleet uses the customized Leo 6 Low. The only information about this unit is that the insides are completely overhauled and is superior to the Grief. They also launch in Space Ares Golden Fleece units, a variant of the Ares. They dominate the rebels on the battlefield. Prometheus and Troa Barton was taken prisoner. They haven't built a self-destruct sequence yet. Duo and Mei Lan go to retrieve Prometheus before the Alliance could get to it. When they get back, Wu Fei, Master O, and the Tallgeese Zhilong is gone. It was Long's mobile suit, but after losing Hu Di, he is a broken man and can't pilot anymore. AC-190, March 22nd. Artemis has taken control of the two ships, the Chiron and the Pholus. Duo and the Long family take Scheherazade, Prometheus, and Warlock, which is El Koenig. It is a mutiny. Dr. J comes on the comms and tells her to watch out for the Pyrenees Mountains. Waiting in the mountains is Beta and Wing Gundam. He takes out both the Chiron and the Pholus, killing Artemis. Dr. J says that Beta's parents died because of Artemis. He says, "That means nothing to me." Papa Long heads to MO4 to help dismantle the Gundams. But along the way, he is pursued by Kants. He unleashes a volley of missiles, killing Lao Ya. Trace and Lady Un walk into a meeting and suggest that they execute Troa Barton to help lower morale. General Septum objects, but Lady Un has evidence that he committed acts of treason, including having ties to the Bartons. They confine Septum until they can conduct a court-martial. They instead use Dekim Barton to negotiate a ceasefire. October 26, AC-190. Foreign Minister 12 Darlian, along with Dekim Barton and General Clarence, sign an armistice bringing an end to the Second Lunar War. Who is Clarence? MC-0022. Next winter. Relina takes off her visor. She calls herself Relina Darlian and throws away the name Peacecraft once again. Now that she has read the Perfect Zex files, they get word that Cyrene Wen has regained consciousness. Father Maxwell meets with Lady Un, who found a way to travel secretly to Mars. She is chief aide to the Earthsphere United Nations president, which is Kathy. With him is a man wearing a hat that goes by Hiro. It is Alpha. The other Hiro clone has been alive and has been an irregular, ignoring mass surveillance all these years. I assume he is old, unlike Beta. He wants to help bring forth a revolution on Mars. Lady Un watched over Marimea after Endless Waltz. It wasn't until AC-204 that they learned that she is in fact a clone of Leia Barton. It's true, no one has sex in this universe. She was one of the clones along with Odin Lowe Jr., which created Alpha. Marimea eventually married and had her own life. The Preventers helped with Dorothy Catalonia's presidential campaign. A riot broke out, and during this, a man accidentally fired on Sally Poe, killing her. This is when a crackdown on irregulars began, along with the forced surveillance in the form of citizenship. One irregular captured was Alpha, going by Black Alpha now. Lady Un knows of his existence, it seems. She decides to use him to conduct Black Op missions for her, and he could remain an irregular. Volcanus was seized by the Rockefeller Foundation. Eventually, Neuenheim Konzer got their hands on it and started moving it towards Mars over the course of 13 years. Volcanus is in between Deimos and Phobos. Vaunt Kushonada launches a Black Cerberus unit, which is just a Mars suit. He links it to the Zero System, thinking his opponent will do the same. Master Chang approaches an Epion Bai and transforms it into its three-headed wyvern form. Are these even mobile suits at this point? Master Chang thinks of Mei Lan and turns off his Zero System. We learn of the Janus Mirror, which stabilizes the Mars electromagnetic field and helped with terraforming. It also can be used to create electromagnetic storms. Dr. T, Catherine, and Professor W set charges to black out Janice, possibly causing mass deaths. But it will momentarily deactivate the perfect peace program. Catra gives Relina the remote detonator to allow her to make the choice. While fighting, there is a lag, and Von Kushonada runs tests to see what it is. It turns out the lag is caused by Wu Fei not having the Zero system on. In reality, Wu Fei is turning it on and off, something he learned when fighting Zex. This is all a distraction from blowing up Janice. Vaughn says that he hates him for killing his brother. He says, "Do not wish to be loved. Keep loving," something Trace once said. The Grand Chariot comes in to help. Vaughn panics and launches Virgo 4s. However, the boys override their system with an old password. "You fool, you gotta change your passwords!" Professor T and the others take control of Cerberus, grab Wu Fei, and make their way into Volcanus. They broadcast Relina's tribunal from Babel with Zex Merquise residing over the court. Relina admits to her crimes, but refuses to admit that total pacifism is a false ideology. Zex tells her total pacifism is what drove many to an early grave. It is a contradiction to freedom. Relina says that debate does not require force. They strike her charge against false ideology off the record, but still sentence Relina to death and force her to sign the surrender. Hiro is to carry out the sentencing, so he instantly pulls out a gun, but he also pulls out a pen and gives it to Relina. This is the remote trigger for Janice. Push this, and many weapons go dark. But the war will continue. Before she can make a decision, Babel is attacked. It happens to be Cyrene Wind. Remember, he was taken out by Zex earlier. Damn, that was like 6 volumes ago. He is with Mars suits. He is with the Queen of Hearts, Naina, and the King of Spades, Millie. Cyrene tanks attacks while the kids attack Babel. In Relina City, Father Maxwell yells at a TV. This is like the moment in the anime where he watches his Gundam get destroyed on live television. Also, what are you doing right now? Why are you just in the city? He incites a mob. Some guys say, "Wait a minute, you're Father Maxwell. You're trash." We learn that Alpha and Father Maxwell are trying to start a riot. Alpha also has a cat that looks like Sabrina's old cat. Duel mentions that he is an irregular too. Alpha says, "No, you're not. You were married. You think they didn't tag you then?" He knows of Father Maxwell's records and also knows that he never got a divorce, so he is still married to Hildy. Duel says, "Damn it." Epion Bai takes down mobile dolls inside Volcanus. Vaughn realizes that Disnoof has taken full control and left him without a mobile suit. He decides that he will self-destruct Volcanus. Dr. T, Professor W, and Catherine confront Disnoof. Dr. T doesn't hesitate and shoots Disnoof right in the head. He knows this wouldn't kill him. His skin is made of Jovian alloy that we saw during the St. Kingdom incident. Professor reads the manual on Disnoof's body. Who made that manual? Catherine then takes him apart, leaving just his torso and head. He could probably survive in space, so they think about letting him drift into space for all eternity. They tell him to spill the beans. He admits to the Lana Green disaster and to faking his death to awaken Relina. They find out that there is a release code for the Perfect Peace program. We also learn that the Zero system couldn't predict Hiro. It seems that the Zero system's predictive outcomes rely on time moving forward for humans. When Hiro went into cryo, the Zero system wasn't able to predict his outcome. I would have totally forgiven this entire series if the writer in this moment just says that the Zero system can't predict Hiro because he's just so good. Deal with it. Nope. But it does look like there is some truth to the heart of space. It isn't entirely nonsense. Keeping it as vague as possible, Master Chang stops Vaughn from self-destructing. Chang tells Vaughn to live to carry out Trace's will. He is insecure about being a clone, but everyone's a clone in this universe. He says that Vaughn should rebuild Oz. Hiro tells Relina to push the trigger, but she destroys it instead. She says total pacifism, bitch, and drops the trigger like she's dropping a mic. She then signs the surrender and accepts defeat. Hiro pulls out his gun and shoots Relina in the head, killing her. He then turns around and fires on Zex, showing that he is a hologram. This is broadcast so it's shown to the whole world. Disnoof is currently Zex. But if you're wondering how Disnoof is on Volcanus and Zex is on Babel, it's because holograms. This was hinted at throughout the last 4 volumes, but I didn't mention it because I thought it would ultimately tie into the story in a more cohesive way and would make for a good discussion at the end. But no, it's just a hologram. It's just that simple and stupid. Sometimes theory crafting leads to disappointment. But I didn't expect that the Zero system is controlling it, and it is not Disnoof. I don't know, man. They learn that Relina is also a hologram. Cyrene Wind comes on the broadcast revealing that he is Miliardo Peacecraft. He states that he was assumed dead and Relina became president, but he is alive. So he takes the presidency back and nullifies Relina's reign. They won't surrender and the war will continue on. Katerin and Scheherazade comes in to assist Millie, though Millie doesn't want her help. On the ground, Baby Duo and Warlock helps Naina. Warlock activates its Fenrir mode. Prometheus launches Snow White at Babel. Hito fires on all Virgos. He loses his cloak to finally reveal that Snow White looks like Proto-Zero. Zex prepares the Zwolf Zwerg to fire on Snow White. Prometheus uses the Cruciform cannon, taking out more Virgos. Tallgeese Heaven is badly damaged, but he hands Hito the Gold Field, the final loadout for the Seven Dwarves system. This is an upgrade of the Nano Defensor once on the Tallgeese Heaven. It unleashes an EMP that will take out Zex, since he's just a computer apparently. Babel fires its cannon. Snow White pushes Tallgeese out of the way. Babel prepares a second shot towards Relina City, but Snow White survived and is barely hanging on, just like the end of Endless Waltz. And just like Endless Waltz, Hito fires on Babel with the Gold Field. Zex and Epion tries to stop Hito before firing. The gold arrow goes through Epion and also takes out Babel in the process. The remains of Epion crash into Hito and they both fall to the ground. Of course, Zex wasn't in the cockpit, but his Zero system is offline. Hito is on the verge of death. Relina goes to his side. They suggest to Relina to kiss him to wake him up. She kisses Hito, but he does not wake. He's fine. MC 0023, First Spring. The Martian Civil War ended with the defeat of the Southern Mars Confederate States. Miliardo remained as president for the remainder of his term. He, Noin, Billy, and Naina lived out their lives on a farm. The next president elected was James Clark Maxwell. That's Father Maxwell's real name? He and the First Lady Hildy still fight to this day and continue their hate-filled relationship. Just give it up at this point. Relina and Hito lived a peaceful life at the Winter Hospital. Relina finally gives up the Peacecraft name forever. Hito decides to give up the name Hito Yui. Like the last episode of the anime, Hito gives Relina a piece of paper. She doesn't rip it up this time. The paper says, "Will you marry me?" She agrees. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Frozen Teardrop. It's over, everyone. We're finally free. The coverage for this is so long that we are going to have to do an epilogue episode to wrap everything up. But one thing I will say is that this isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. This just needs a good editor and needs to be cut in half. Cut all the fluff. The problem comes with the fact that Endless Waltz supposedly solves the world peace problem, and there doesn't need to be more story after that. And world peace was solved. The end. Mars now found world peace. But what happens when they terraform other planets? I guess we do it all over again. Oh my god, is that the Endless Waltz they're referencing? Now that we have finished Frozen Teardrop, we can return to our coverage of Glory to the Losers. Probably should have covered this first. There is also the Preventer 7 manga and a Code Geass crossover, but I don't think your Jibuwos can handle it. But that will do it for now, losers. Now to seek the emptiness this series has left in my heart. Oh no, I've become a dramatic Gundam Wing character. Peace.